Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm your host, Tina Clark. I'm a shamanic Reiki master, and this is the Voices of Healing podcast. Today's guest is Amita Sharma. She's a woman's holistic wellness champion and advocate, and a menopause and perimenopause expert. Welcome to the show, Amita.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Tina, the work that you're doing on the healing part, the Reiki, I think it is so relevant to the work that I'm doing for women. And we know we women need more healing during this stage of our life than any other stage, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I can attest to that.
yeah, for sure. And I feel like this is like a silent epidemic because our mothers didn't talk about this, and there was not a lot of talking about menopausal symptoms or any kind of those struggles. We just knew that I knew my mom was in a bad mood during that time. I didn't know why she was so unhappy. But tell the audience a little bit more about yourself before we start talking about menopause.
Yeah, so I am like anyone else. I'm not a medical doctor or even a health expert for that matter. I just had a really hard time during my perimenopause journey before I hit menopause, actually, and it just impacted a lot of my life, my career, actually, more to be exact, right? To a point that it was so hard for me to be productive and concentrated and all that. So fast forward, um, I just decided a few years back that I wanted to do something in holistic. And being in high tech, being always in the go, I wanted to do something that's more meaningful, more purposeful. Not that I wasn't doing anything meaningful, purposeful. So here I am in the last couple of years when I started looking into deeper into where is the underserved area where we can make a difference, make an impact. This whole area of a mid-age woman kept coming up. And that's how I related my journey too. I said, hey, by the way, I am also in that stage I fall into that group and I had a horrible time. And why don't we just go deeper into that? So that's kind of how this happened. It was an evolution. It wasn't like a one day switch that I said, okay, I'm going to solve menopausal women's problems. It was more like going through myself, and then figuring out what to do and then going deeper into it, talking to about 3,000 experts, global experts all over the world, and then say, okay, why don't we do this? And here I am in front of you.
Wow, that's wonderful. Well, I think our higher purpose is always to be of service. And so if we can help others, if we've gone through it ourselves, like you've already gone through it, you can help others along with their journey as well. So can you talk a bit more about your own experience? Like you said, you had a bad experience. So what happened?
Yeah, so the perimenopause. I want to focus on perimenopause. The reason being is it's we don't even pay attention. We know menopause, but the perimenopause could last up to 10 years, and that's kind of what happened with me. I started getting all these symptoms, and every 2-3 years the symptoms were different when I started going through perimenopause, right? So perimenopause, I had all kind of strange symptoms, shortness of breath. Then I had cyst in my vagina, and uterus. And then my doctor told me to take out my uterus and enter into the forced menopause in my 40s. I didn't want to do it because my mom had gotten through it and she can't even walk now. She had osteoporosis very early on. So then, later on, I started getting strange hot flashes, unannounced hot flashes in the middle of the day when I'm talking to people, having meetings, and then suddenly profusely I'm sweating. At night, I can't sleep. In the morning, my brain is so fogged up, I can't even concentrate, not being productive all day. I'm just feeling so fatigued. All these things, right? It suddenly took over my life because I was not able to function. I'm always tired, all the time tired, and I don't know what the heck is happening. And I had also put on weight, on my stomach and all over. So all these things, can actually put a damper on you, right? And you are barely in your 40s or just in 40s, and you're thinking, oh my God, I have like barely mid-age. How am I going to get past all that? So that was my journey. And I actually started working very aggressively to start taking care of myself. And my first line of defense was holistic therapies rather than putting all kind of medication, because I did not want to be on anxiety and antidepressant, because I was sort of like a borderline depressed as well. You know, I went into
Mhm.
depression and I couldn't get out of it. It used to be so dark. Like it was so hard for me to get out of that whole mental state.
So what kind of
So,
holistic modalities did you utilize that helped
so
you?
yeah, so it was hard, right? It's not easy that you can get out of it in one day. It's a process, as you know, that being in holistic expert yourself. So I actually started fixing my diet as a first start, which I was not eating right, not eating on time, not eating the right food, all those things. Then I started exercising a lot, and then after that, I actually started incorporating Ayurvedic therapies, a lot of massage therapies, right, into my regimen. And I also started going for acupuncture quite a bit, regularly. Then I started using aromatherapy oils at night or different places. I learned acupressure and started tapping, a little bit here and there by myself. And I needed therapy because I told you I was going through a lot of anxiety and almost borderline depression. So I would seek out therapy, all those therapies, seeking out therapy sometimes can be looked at as a negative connotation, right? A lot of cultures, but I say, hey, I don't care. I need to take care of myself. So
Mhm.
I did seek out therapy to help myself. So all these things combined slowly started helping me. And supplements. I started taking regularly supplements to make sure my gut health is good on a daily basis. So I took Triphala and some of the other herbs and spices that I started using on a daily basis. I started eating some of the like Indian gooseberry, a lot of things. I did a lot of things, is what I'm saying. But I don't recommend that everyone does it without consulting an expert. I did it by doing my research, because at that time there was a lot of lack of research and lack of actually people talking about this topic. So I ended up becoming my own little healer, but I don't recommend that women do that.
And what kind of expert do you recommend, like a holistic healing or Ayurvedic um,
So
practitioner?
so it depends, right, what a woman is going through. It really depends. Every woman is going to have the experience in a different way. And it also depends a lot on your ethnic background, what kind of ethnic background you're coming, the kind of symptoms you're going to have. So I think it depends on, you need to clean up your diet, you need to have an exercise regimen, so you need to see someone who understands menopause in a holistic way. So it could be a naturopathic doctor. I think they understand this really well before you go into an Ayurveda or an acupuncture. So I think it's better to talk to someone who understands menopause in an integrative and holistic way. It could be a functional medicine doctor. It could be an MD who understands other things as well. So once you get your baseline, right, your blood work and all those things, then you can say, okay, now I can go into, let's say, a dietitian, and maybe it could be an Ayurvedic dietitian, or it could be an acupuncture, or it could be a therapist. Then I think you go down to the other things. That's would be my recommendation. But if you already have everything, then it could be, your breath work. Hey, you need someone to help you with breath work, or your meditation, or your yoga, or your diet, or meal plan, right, or therapy. There's so many different things you could do.
Yeah, the good news is I just went through this myself and had my blood work done, and I worked with a naturopath and a holistic health coach who I actually interviewed on the podcast for the Voices of Healing podcast. So her
Oh,
interview is already out there. And I
okay.
decided to work with her because she specialized on women over 40. And I just wanted to check my blood work, and my triglycerides were really high. So we've been working on it for months to tweak my diet to get that number lower.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I overall eat healthy, but
Yeah.
those little tweaks can make a huge difference. And so what I did is I started eating more fiber and more
Mhm.
healthy fats.
Mhm.
And that allowed my numbers to drop. I think it dropped 70 points.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah. So
amazing.
we were all really excited about that. And as I continue, and it wasn't a huge difference in what I was eating, it was just tweaking a little bit.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
just want women out there to know that it's not like if you're already eating healthy and
Mhm.
a problem comes up in your blood work, it's going to be a
Mhm.
little tweaks to focus on. Instead of having butter, you have olive oil. Instead of
Mhm.
having white bread, you have whole grain bread. And that made a huge difference for me. So if you work with a naturopath, a doctor,
Mhm.
or mine is a nurse, by training, but find somebody that can help you with that and get your blood work checked. I mean, you should
Mhm.
be checking these numbers.
Yeah, no, no, you're absolutely right. That's exactly the same thing happened with me. I'm pretty healthy, but I noticed that I was eating way too many nuts. I was overdoing it, right? And my bloating wouldn't go away. It was just so crazy. And I just got everything checked up, and they said, "Hey, just lower it down." And sure enough, things just completely now much better. So I
Yeah,
think it's smaller tweaks that we don't understand, and it's hard for us to pay attention to on a daily basis, as well, to pay so much attention to each and every need. Sometimes with the busy lives we have, it gets very hard, so it doesn't hurt to have someone help you.
right. And pay attention to when you do eat something if you have a reaction to it. Like your stomach hurts, or it changes how often you go to the bathroom, like dairies. I'm sensitive to dairy. So just notice, what do you eat? How do you feel after you eat? And do you have any symptoms? And then you may have to avoid that food. If it gives you a stomach ache, do you really want to continue eating it? Your body is telling you it doesn't like it. So that's another little tweak that you can pay attention to.
Oh, yeah, no, 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 absolutely. I actually end up having a lot of simple herbs to help myself, with with the gut health. I actually rely a lot on these things like ginger and turmeric, the roots. I would cut the fresh root of ginger, sort of like a shots you get in Trader Joe's, and
Yeah.
make my own on a daily basis. And it helps with the gut health so much, because we know that the gut health and the brain anxiety, all that is connected, right? So it's very important for women to take care of their gut health. It's very, very important.
Yeah, and I love ginger because it can knock out a stomach ache. Ginger
Oh,
tea.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, ginger chews. Like I have ginger chews, and my mother-in-law had a stomach ache over the holidays, and I said, try this ginger tea. And after she drank it, she said she did feel better. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's natural herbs out there. There's remedies.
Mm-hmm.
I would stay away, like in your own journey. You stayed away from pharmaceuticals. Those are toxic to the body, toxic to your
Mm-hmm.
liver. Can you speak a little bit more about Ayurvedic therapies? Because I don't know much about it, but I'm very curious about it and how that helped you.
Yeah, so Ayurveda is a complete science. What it means is science of life, right? It has all the principles, a lot of regimens and principles. So I'll just give an overview. So what it's talking, Ayurveda is talking about, is all diseases are stemming from your gut health, from your gut, actually.
Hmm.
And they lay a lot of emphasis on cleansing your gut at least twice in a year. What they call it is an Ayurveda cleanse. So like around springtime now, and in fall time, they also talk about eating according to your constitution. So what they're talking about is each person has a unique constitution, sort of like what we have a unique blood work, right? but they don't have um, so you have to keep in mind this was about 5,000 years old. There was no blood work labs out there. It's more intuitive from a constitution point of view. So it's looking at your body constitution, your all those things, and putting you in 3 different constitution, and it's saying eat according to your constitution, right? That's one of the things. And it also talks about including 6 tastes in every meal: salt, sugar, right? We know pungent, astringent, all these tastes. So basically, it's saying the same thing what we say in Western science: eating a rainbow diet or eating healthy fats, protein, and carb, right? It's saying eat all taste. When you start eating all taste, you are going to incorporate all these foods, right? So that's kind of on the food part of Ayurveda, right? Then it has a complete um, like a closet of different therapies that it has, which I personally have used, and it helped me a lot. So these are more like your body therapies, right? What you call in massage therapies. And they use medicated oils, so oils that are infused with herbs, and they boil it and they make the medicated oils. And what they do is they pour you those medicated oils onto your body, and slather you with that oil, and it helps a lot. You can imagine, the whole body, if you're slathering with a medicated oil and it's just warmed up a little bit, just lukewarm, right? So that's what I have personally used. It's called Abhyanga. And then the other one is, there are a lot of these kind of therapies, and I'm just talking about the journal, which are very, very popular and common. And the other thing that can help with women who are having sleep issues, which I have personally taken quite a few times, is called Shirodhara. What they do is you lie down, and then sort of like a pot of with a lukewarm oil, they start dripping it on your right ear for 45 minutes and on your hair. So all that is lathered with oil, if you can imagine. It's really good. And then Ayurveda has amazing herbs and supplements. Unbelievable. So many of them that you can use. Then it also has what I was talking about, the cleansing part, right? Earlier, that is the biggest daddy of a detox, called Panchakarma. So there are different 5 therapies, what they call, and they talk a lot about getting your Panchakarma done, meaning detox of your body, cleanse your body twice a year, so that you get the toxins out of your body. So it's basically living with the nature, according to the circadian rhythm, what we know about it. Eating according to the nature, eating according to the seasons. It's talking about that, right? That don't start eating watermelon in winter, and don't start eating strange fruits and vegetables in summer or winter. Follow the nature. That's what it's talking about. It's called Ritocharya. And then the last thing what Ayurveda talks about is, they call it Dinacharya, means a daily routine. Talks about you have to have a daily routine every single day, when you meditate, when you do a little bit of a yoga, when you eat what I was talking about properly, and that you follow a certain daily routine. So like I said, it's a complete science. It's beautiful. And in India, it's practiced like a medical system. In this country, it's not, because it lacks a lot of evidence. Specifically some of the medication that they make, but a lot of supplements are also offered in this country, like ashwagandha, turmeric, so many of them. So it's very powerful. It's very powerful.
Yeah, I think that we're going to go back to these ancient traditions, including ancient Chinese medicine. I'm excited because this, I mean, the Western view is so arrogant and has completely suppressed this and said, this doesn't work. There's no proof. It's existed for thousands of years. And it's an ancient tradition, and we need to be looking at these traditions and practices and learn from them, because we're experiencing a problem in this country, of mental illness, of physical illness, emotional illness, all of it. So, we need to start looking at alternatives, because the medical model is not working.
And you're absolutely right. The other thing that is a problematic in Western countries is the food supply. We are
Yeah.
putting too much pesticides on our food supply, and then we are eating all that, and the toxic load is going up so much, and that's impacting our mental health. Our gut health is getting impaired, all of the above. So, and organic is so expensive for a normal a normal person to go afford that. So I think that hopefully things will start changing, but you're absolutely right. We need to go back into the basics of really taking care of ourselves using just simple Ayurvedic, traditional Chinese medicine, simple basic principles, right?
But we need to go back to what our grandmothers were using, as medicine, it's been completely forgotten. And
Yeah.
so we need to go back to that. But I'm hopeful and optimistic that we are on the right path.
Hmm.
Um, and I think this podcast is a source of information for people, that are looking for other methods of healing that are natural and non-toxic and gentle. And so that's what I love about the Ayurvedic system is it's looking at everything holistically,
Yeah.
and it's honoring the natural cycles of the planet, the seasons of the planet, what kind of foods which we should be eating, and giving us a routine. We need to be cleansing twice a year. This is when you
Yeah.
do it. So a lot of us are clueless about this, and in the U.S., and we need to start learning. And this podcast is a source of information for that. So, so you tried a lot of different therapies. I love the acupuncture. I think
Mhm.
I use it for myself. And when you said tapping, did you mean the emotional freedom technique?
Yeah. So emotional freedom technique and acupressure pretty similar, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you think about it, acupressure is also tapping. You're tapping on the meridian points without the needles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a similar principle actually also exists in Ayurveda called marma therapy. What they're doing is, how the meridians in acupuncture, there are so many meridians and they stick a needle over there. The same thing is marma therapy in Ayurveda. There are all these points and then they put oil and they press on those, right?
Mm,
Same thing.
mhm.
Same thing. So all these are similar in nature.
And
The
by the way, I'm
yeah.
trained in emotional freedom technique, and it's wonderful for anxiety and depression. It gets you from a really emotional, intense state to a calm state really fast. I actually love it. So if you're interested, listeners, look into that. I know I can do sessions online and show you how to tap. And once you do it one time, you can do it yourself anytime, anywhere.
No, it's very powerful, and it has evidence, research behind it that how EFT it can be very powerful. And we are also going to include it when we launch our app. I'd love to have someone like you come in and demonstrate that.
Yeah, so now that you mentioned your app, why don't we talk about that? What is it called? Is it available for download now? And what is the purpose of the app? What kind of information is on there?
So we, like I said, for the last couple of years, we started doing this whole perimenopause, menopause, and we decided to put it all together into sort of like a structured platform where women can go in and learn about all this in a very affordable way rather than spending thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm saying go informed and learn about it before you start getting into there, right? So what we have is an app which is getting launched actually in April, and the whole idea of the app is affordable, less than $10, $5 a month, where women either perimenopausal or menopausal can go in and learn about what perimenopause is, and based on the symptoms use all these techniques like EFT, like acupressure, like some of the Ayurvedic things, like simple dietary changes. or exercises, use these things to help themselves navigate through this whole symptoms and manage these symptoms. And also through the app, we're going to have experts like yourself. Let's say if I need a demo or if I need more help, I have anxiety issues, I can consult with you for 15 minutes or whatever and say, hey, Tina, help me with the tapping. I'm having problems or whatever. So through the app, we're going to make this available for the experts to be available for consultation as well. So we start off with something really simple, like $5, and then it keeps going up as per the user's concern and whatever the user needs.
And what's the name of the app?
So right now we're talking it Bloom by NourishDoc. It's not published right now on on the iPhone. Like I said, we are releasing it in this month. We are in the final stages, but the whole idea is it's going to be a platform where the experts would be coming in. It's not like something an AI only AI. It's driven by experts, holistic experts.
That's awesome. So then you have access to people and through the app, and you can actually, test out an EFT scenario with me, for example, and say, hey, well, I would like to, research this and pursue this.
Mhm.
Because I'm
Yeah,
telling you, anxiety is not just a menopausal problem. Everybody is having problems with anxiety and depression right now. Almost every client that comes to me is experiencing one or both. So,
that's I mean, that's awful. No. And what happens is it exasperates when you're going through perimenopause, menopause, right? I wanted
yeah,
to add that
yeah.
because now, even if you had like I'll give you my example. I used to have a borderline anxiety, like all of us have that, right? On a day-to-day basis. But here my perimenopause journey starts, and I was like depressed. I was borderline depressed. I couldn't handle myself, and I used to be in a very dark place because of the hormonal fluctuations that are happening, all the things that are changing around you. Your physical world is changing, your mental world is changing, your social world, your even relationships with your spouse can also be triggered in a negative way because loss of libido is could be one of the symptoms for women face, and they're not open, they don't feel comfortable talking about it openly with the open communication. There's so many reasons for anxiety and depression, right? So
Mhm.
the menopausal women get I think an extra dose of you know this anxiety and depression, not necessarily the other things, but so many other things that can just come into play which you haven't even thought about it. And a lot of women end up getting divorced as well
Oh, yeah.
during this phase. If you look at the data, most of the women who are getting divorced, 60% of them are in perimenopause, menopausal stage.
And the women are filing for divorce, not the men.
Right. Okay, I did not know that part.
Yeah, I think it's like 70%. It's really high that it's the women that are filing. So just if you are in this age group, know that there's options for you out there. And, you've got to look at these holistic therapies that helped Amita, helped myself, and you need to find the solutions for yourself. And they're out there, and the wisdom is out there too. The Ayurvedic medicine and the ancient Chinese medicine, it's been around for a long time for a reason.
Absolutely. And especially in this country, in the United States, acupuncturists are almost at every single block, at least in California. I don't know about where you are, but here it's like every single block has an acupuncture clinic. Every single block. I'm not kidding you. Not Ayurveda. Ayurveda is not as popular because it's a little bit more involved, I should say that, and there are not that many trained Ayurvedic practitioners. And I think for a lot of people, it gets very confusing because there's so many of them, but acupuncture is very easy to get.
Yeah, I think California is ahead of us. We're a little slow here, but there are acupuncturists available here too. And it's actually it's even covered by my insurance, but
Mhm.
the acupuncturist that's covered for me is like 45 minutes away. So I just choose to pay out of pocket for a local acupuncturist. But Amita, can you share where people can contact you, your website, and where they can get more information about the app that's being launched April 2025?
Yes. So people can go to our website, www.nourishdoc.com. That's where we would be posting when the app is launched. It's going to be downloadable as well as on the web. So stay tuned. The idea is to really help women get through this phase with as much ease as possible.
And all that information is going to be in the show notes. And I want to thank you, Amita, so much for doing this, for sharing your journey, and also creating this app that's going to help so many women have access to alternative modalities that's going to help them through this phase of life.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tina, for having me and the work that you're doing. I think it's very complimentary what you and I are doing.